already did email myself. Thank God. I just gotta download it. It's the boy Derek Queen as the thumbnail. Which not knowing what your tweet about, I honestly have no idea. I literally have no clue what your Maryland thing's gonna be. So it's kind of
I've
exciting.
been way too dialed in this week.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, my life was on the line in the first round for Carolina uh, last year. I was ready to die. All right, we're live. Link up, and then I'm ready to go. You good?
Yep.
Make sure I press record this time so we don't have to wait 2 days to upload it. All right. Let's get going. Sorry, I don't know why I'm taking so slow. Let's go. All right, you ready? 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to the Wise Guys Podcast. I'm your host, Brady Fitzgerald, joined as always by my co-host, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. We apologize for it's been a week. We missed the first round of March Madness. We are previewing the Sweet 16, or the first 2 rounds, I guess. But we're previewing the 16. Don't worry, and we're gonna recap all the games. We'll get there. I apologize. Started working. Haven't been able to figure out the schedule yet. We're gonna get it locked in. We'll get it consistent, and we'll be back on schedule, Chris. But how you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. One of the best times of the year. We got obviously Sweet 16, Elite 8 this weekend. We got Opening Day tomorrow. We got the Masters is sneaky close. So I
Yeah.
cannot ask for a better time on the calendar.
Is we're not losing connection this early, are we?
I think we hit second, but I have you.
Okay. Well then, all right, we're good. We're good. I think we're back. Sorry about that. Yes, it is a perfect time. It's low key a great time for the sports calendar. Like, if everyone gets mad when the Super Bowl's over, but really, you just got to make it through those. It's like a month maybe. Bad sporting like
Yeah, it's like if you don't
time.
like regular season college and NBA, then it's a tough month.
Yeah, and if you can
Then you
make
get all the
yourself,
good stuff.
yeah, eat your vegetables. Watch the regular season, eat your vegetables, get through it, and it's like no time's passed at all. We got the draft coming up soon. Um, it's an exciting time. So we're gonna get right into it, Chris. How are you doing on your bracket, by the way?
Oh, terrible. This is one of the
Yeah, I'm
worst brackets
awful.
that I've had in a
I'm
while.
awful.
Last year I did pretty well, so it's only natural to come back down. I'm not too upset about it. What I am upset about is my survivor pool. And I'm in 2 separate survivor pools, and there's a buyback opportunity. And in my one survivor pool, I used my buyback and lost again over
Mm,
the span of 2 days. In
mm.
my other survivor pool, I lost, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not buying. I'm not wasting the money. I'm clearly just not good at this. So yeah, it's been a tough go betting
The
wise for me.
once after so on Sunday, I cleaned up on the betting. I just started betting favorites and taking teams that
Yeah,
I
that's
really, really believed in. I didn't stop. I stopped taking. I like there was too much. Anytime you bet or you picked with your heart in this tournament or this bracket, you lost. At least for me. Every
no.
time
There
I bet
hasn't
with
been a
my
lot of
heart,
hasn't been a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah. But that's okay. We're gonna have some great basketball in the Sweet 16. Uh,
Yep.
even though like it's only one 12 seed won. That was like the highest seed or the lowest seed that won. Um, and but that's okay. I mean, we're gonna get some great matchups. We're gonna get some great basketball, and Maryland's right in it, Chris. They're right in the thick of things.
They are right in it.
They're facing Florida. Does it start with the game right now, Chris, or is there something else going through your mind?
Uh, I have not been able to think about the game at all because it seems like our head coach is bound for Villanova as soon as the final whistle blows
Oh.
in whichever game they lose.
Oh, no.
So it first came out last weekend. It was a rumor that Villanova's interested. Jay Wright, former coach of Villanova, basically God there, likes Kevin Willard a lot. That's his top choice to fill, mind you, to fill the role of the last head coach, who was also his handpicked guy that got fired after 3 seasons for sucking. So Willard's his new guy, I guess. So it was noted that there was interest, got flushed away pretty quickly. There was a report from Rothstein that basically said they're working on a new contract to make him like a top 10 paid coach in the sport and like get all this extra stuff. Apparently, there are so many layers to this, and I don't know how much of it I want to get into right now because we have games to talk about. But apparently, that was BS. The AD was on his way out to SMU anyway. So basically tried to like give him a contract on his way out, and then Willard let loose in a press conference and basically said, "Yeah, he's going to SMU. No one knew this yet." So he
So
outed
the
that, and then he started complaining.
Maryland UD or yeah, he's going to
Athletic director, yeah,
yeah,
Damon
AD.
Evans. He's has already accepted the SMU job, which is now known,
Okay.
but it wasn't announced until after Willard said something in his press conference, and everybody was like, "Wait, what? What's going on?"
Yeah, it's kind of a bomb
Uh,
to drop.
Yeah, so that happens, and then he complains about how the program has basically been getting like the athletic department has just been super cheap with the program. They haven't gotten the funding or the resources that they've needed. So he goes like scorched earth in this press conference, and everyone's like, "What is happening right now?" Um, so quiet for a couple days. They win. They beat Colorado State in probably the best Maryland basketball moment of my life, the Derek Queen buzzer beater,
So
which
awesome.
was
So
a,
awesome.
a hard game to watch, and it was worth every second of stress and worry because it was very awesome.
That's
And Derek Queen is the man.
I guess we'll talk about that shot in a
And
second, but you could finish up.
yeah, okay. So anyway, that happens. Everything is fine. Next day, like I'm doing the usual Monday morning after a big win. I'm just soaking it all up, you know. And then around noon, another article comes out, and it's basically says, "Yeah, this is not over. Uh, Villanova is pretty much just waiting on Willard. Um, we don't know who he's negotiating with at Maryland because they don't have an AD anymore, and the sky was falling." So that was
Oh
Monday,
no.
and then Monday night, I don't. It's gone flip flop so many times. So we get to Monday night, and it seems like we're good. Like one of the boosters came out and said he's not going anywhere. Like he's told everybody that he's staying. He's going to stay. Tuesday, yesterday, he has a radio appearance in the morning that he skips out on, and everyone freaks out. Like he's gone, he's gone. Then he has another radio appearance that he says that he just overslept earlier, and then he gets pressed by the host if he's staying, and he says, "As of now, I'm staying."
As
And
of
then
now.
the host is like, "Well, like, do you think you're going to get everything that you want?" Because they're now at this point, we know that they're negotiating him in the school, and he like shouts out this guy in the AD department, basically says he's great. They're working really hard. They're on the same page, all this stuff. So it seemed like things were going pretty well. And then there was a drop that his offer had been sent to the Board of Regents, that he was, which means he was basically prepared to sign it. And then, like 2 hours later, Villanova or Xavier hires Richard Pitino, who
Okay.
was rumored to be
The
Villanova's
Villanova's
top
head coach.
choice.
Yeah.
So now he's gone. Villanova doesn't have a coach. Villanova doesn't have a single rumor about who their head coach could be, except for Kevin Willard. So now this guy's falling again. Um, and he did a press conference today, was asked about it, and he proceeded to talk about how difficult it was going to be to guard Florida's shooters. And that's kind of where we've left off.
That's
Um,
so the
so we're
AD
in
part is
this
the problem.
limbo. Yes and no. I at this point, I think that as soon as Villanova contacted him, he probably knew that that's where he wanted to go. I think that like he grew up a Big East guy. Um, like he loved Jay Wright. I think they have more money there for basketball because they don't have to give any money to football.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. What I think happened is he got that call. Immediately he was like, I'm going to take this. Then he tried to leverage it with Maryland so that Maryland would give him an offer. And then he could go back to Villanova and say,
It's this.
here's what they're going to give me. Right.
Yeah.
Do better. And they will because they're Villanova. That's what I think is happening. That's conjecture from the hours and hours of content that I've consumed. 98% of it is not real and based on fake sources or purely speculation. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. It's completely ruined this week, which was supposed to be all about
Yeah, it's supposed to
like
be
it's
about the
cliche, but it's all
players
about
and
the
the
kids.
yeah.
And like I said in my tweet, it's been 9 years since they've been in the Sweet 16. So it's been a while since like I've got to experience this, and I haven't been able to think about the game once because I feel like they're going to lose by 40, and then he's gone, and then it's back to square one.
The it puts such like considering it's putting a cloud. Yeah, God, this has to get out of the locker room. I mean, it cannot affect the locker room. Affects it at
Yeah.
all, it's done. It's over. Florida's gonna kill
Yep.
him.
And that happened when he was at Seton Hall. They got boat race in their first tournament game the week before he took the Maryland job.
This is not good, Chris.
It's not good.
This is
I would
not
take
what I was
Florida
expecting.
-6
I was gonna say this is not
if
what
I
I was
were you.
expecting coming in. Um,
No, it's a tough
so
spot.
to talk about the games, we'll because there's nothing we can talk. There's nothing we
That's
can do
yeah.
with this.
Everything I know, you all now know.
Yeah, it's
I hope I didn't give any away any like insider information that I pay for. Well, if I did,
we have a
I think the last
podcast.
article he posted.
We'll talk about Colorado State. We'll talk about that shot because it was the epitome of man. Okay, am I back?
I got you now. Yep.
Okay, we'll wait 2 seconds. Sorry about that. Hopefully the stream is still active. Good. Um, well, we will be good in a second. All right, we're back to live. Sorry about that. This Maryland shot, this Derek Queen buzzer beater, it was the epitome of the end of your season all wrapped into one. And it was finally on your side, on the good guy's side. It was like you guys finally beat I mean you beat the buzzer, honestly. And they I mean, what, 4 games they lost to a buzzer beater during the regular season? And they were back to back
Yeah,
to
I don't
back
know
to
if they were
back.
all like literally buzzer beaters, but they were. They weren't. It was with like 3 seconds left.
So to have this go off at the buzzer, and it's Derek Queen. I mean, the guy's been we've been talking about him all season. That just I hope I was gonna say like I hope this momentum can carry on. Now who knows what the momentum's gonna happen. Um,
That's the part that sucks. That really sucks.
but Chris, go dive into it however you want to.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I'd also like to give a shout out to Julian Reese, who was the worst free throw shooter that I think I've ever seen over the past 2 seasons, and spent hours and hours in the gym this summer working on his form, and came out this year and shot, I think 75% from the line. He had 4 free throws in the last 2 minutes of this game and hit all of them. And
It's awesome.
that is pretty like if that's not redemption and like
Yeah.
hard work paying off, then I don't know what is. So I was pretty happy for him because they're not even in that spot without those free throws going in. But yeah, that last possession, I don't know if you heard like the post game stuff, but basically the team comes in, coach says, "Who wants the ball?" Derek Queen says, "Give me, Give me the
Oh,
motherfucking
nice.
ball.
Nice. That's
And
awesome.
they just look at each other like, all right, give him the ball. So nothing fancy. They inbound, get it to him in the high posts. He doesn't really put a move on or anything, just kind of works a little closer
He
to the
just
hoop,
drives
puts
right
up an
in.
impossible shot against the backboard, which is a shot that he actually hit against Michigan. I saw a clip from it from that game. Like basically the same exact shot, just incredible touch, like with that angle to be able to bank it in. So he went to a move that he knew he had hit before. The confidence was there. It was perfectly defended. Um, and yeah, it went in, and it really was unbelievable because I was sitting there like, there's no way that one of the guards, it's either Gillespie or Rice, that's going to be taking this shot because there's not enough time to get it inside. Um, I was wrong. As soon as the ball went to him, I was like, what are we doing here? Like, how is he going to get an open look? And it wasn't an open look, and it didn't matter. So it really was just like a flood of just relief and joy at the same time. Just because, yeah, like this whole season, every loss that they've had has just been an absolute heartbreaker. They haven't lost a game by more than like 5 points all year. Um, Michigan in the Big Ten tourney, buzzer beater layup. Michigan State obviously was a half court shot. Ohio State was a 3-pointer, banked in three with like 5 seconds left. And then Northwestern was a tip in buzzer beater. That was the last four losses. Like that's not exaggerating at all. That's what 2025 Maryland basketball has looked like. So I was when that kid from Colorado State hit the three to put him up, I'm like leaning against my wall like this.
You just knew, yeah,
Like,
like you
is this
knew, like
really
this,
how we're gonna go
yeah,
out? Like, this is it can't the season can't end like that. Not another one like this.
yeah.
Um, and then yeah, Derek Queen to the rescue.
It's an incredible story, and the Julian Reese part. I mean, it's an underlying part that people aren't going to mention, and an amazing story for Maryland basketball, and that him as a player himself, and if he wants to make it to the next level. Um, you're facing against Florida. Florida had an awesome game against UConn. It was kind of a slop fest at first. Second half it picked up. Um, UConn, I mean, they played their hearts out. They played they all 40 minutes they freaking grinded. They just needed a couple shots at the end, and Walter Clayton Jr. was the guy of the game. And UConn this whole season just never had that guy. They had the team mentality of the back-to-back champs. They had the coach, of course, but they didn't have that one guy that they were reliable on. Sometimes they had solo ball, but it wasn't clearly it wasn't enough. And Walter Clayton Jr. just went electric and stole this game. Even though they're the one seed, it had UConn was kind of controlling it, and even though it was going back and forth, it seemed like they were going to able to finish it off. And Clayton Jr. He was amazing. So going up against Florida, ignoring all the locker room and Willard stuff, what I mean, they're gonna have to shoot 40% from three again, Maryland. Um, they're gonna have to hold them to 70-ish points. It's gonna be a tough challenge.
Yeah, and I think they can take a play out of UConn's book here because UConn turned that game into a rock fight, and that's not how Florida has been used to playing all season. They're
Yeah.
a team that likes to run. Like they like to score in transition. They crush you on the offensive boards. When you slow that game down, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. So that's what Maryland's going to have to do. And we kind of talked about that with football sometimes, where like you just shorten the game, or yeah, shorten the game.
Hmm.
The long possessions, like trying to draw this thing out. Don't let them run you. They have way more depth than Maryland does, so they can't run you. Like if we're playing this game, 3 point line to 3 point line, then there's going to be a problem because we have five guys that are
Yeah,
actual impact players. So
and what you guys are gonna need is a couple of those bench guys to come in and this is gonna sound dirty, but throw some not haymakers, but get some fouls. They're gonna have to slow
yeah,
down the game by getting fouls. That's what UConn did early. They were in foul trouble. Both teams were in foul trouble really early, or at least a couple of their players. And the that you got to make it Big East basketball. So if Kevin Willard really wants to go to Villanova, this is his shot. The Big East just almost showed how to beat them. So you got to play Big East basketball to do that. They do they have? I mean, they haven't been a run and gun team this whole year, right? Maryland, they've kind of like they've been
Maryland,
a
no, yeah.
so they've slowed the game down. Um, yeah, they're gonna need to against Florida. It's gonna be a tough battle, Chris.
Yeah, the other tough thing is Florida's one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the country, and Maryland has just been getting smoked on the glass the last 3 games, so I think Willard already said they're gonna have to rely on their bench bigs a little bit more. Who Geronimo played a little bit, uh, Caparia, like, played a little bit at the beginning of the season and hasn't gotten any meaningful minutes in probably a month or 2 now, so it'll be interesting to see him just get thrown out there into the fire, against these, like, freak athletic 6'10" dudes, but they're gonna have to figure out something, defensively to keep Florida off the glass. Because if they get murdered like that again, then this Florida team is way too good. Like, Colorado State killed them on the boards, and they're not a good rebounding team, and they couldn't shoot the 3 ball well. Florida is good at both of those things, and they will lose by 20 if they have a -10 in the rebounding margin again.
Yeah, that's gonna be massive. And they like some of these games can just get so quickly away. Like you see
Mhm.
in the St. Mary's Alabama game, that game was close all the way up until the end, and then Alabama just blows them out. And the so it could just take a 3 minute stretch like that. And I mean, we saw them play that clunker against Michigan State, so we know they can slow it down. We know they can play dirty. But that offensive rebounding is gonna be a key. Do you think we can move over to another game or
Yep.
all right,
Too
let's
much time
go
already.
let's go to oh yeah, we gotta draft in 30 minutes. Let's go to Auburn. Um Auburn, Michigan. I think this might be a bloodbath. That's kind of why I went there first. I think this could get ugly.
I I've been surprised by Michigan so far, I will say, because I was the biggest Michigan hater in the world. They barely escaped UC San Diego, which was everybody's favorite upset. So I wasn't shocked that they ended up winning that game. The A&M game I was surprised about because I think that A&M is better than them. Um, and that game was close for a while, and then the wheels kind of came off at the end there. So I will say, like, Michigan's guards have looked a lot better early on in this tournament. And when they have Wolf and Golden both scoring like 20 points, they are pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, if when both of them are getting double double almost, that's
Yeah.
that's a tough battle to go against. Yeah, and you said their guard Roddy Glyle Jr. Is that how you pronounce his
Yeah.
last
It's
name?
like not even a starter.
26 points off the bench. That's those are the
Uh,
types of guys you need in March to step up.
Yep. One A&M's best player shot pretty poorly. Taylor, right? He's their best player.
Yeah.
Um, it's like that had an effect, obviously. But I didn't think that they were a team that would be able to score 91 points in a tournament game. Oh, maybe I was just wrong about Michigan. Um, Auburn's not a team I was super high on coming into the tournament, and like I don't know, I feel like they kind of play with their food a little bit against Creighton, but Creighton's a good basketball team, so
Yeah, and
I
Broome
don't
had a
know. I don't
bad
know what to
game.
think of Auburn.
Broome had a bad game against Creighton. I mean, I
He
guess
like he
12,
hasn't been that
12
great
and
down the
8.
stretch.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't been great down the stretch. They need him to step up big against Michigan, and he needs to go up against these big guys, um, and get
Yeah,
get a lot of rebounds. They need better performance from their center, uh, and I guess Brome normally slides into that center spot a lot of the time. So when he plays better, I guess that helps. But they got like Chad Baker, Messiah. That guy's a dog. He's just like built for this tournament. Um, I don't know. I think I mean I think they're gonna win, but you never know. I mean they have Michigan State has that or Michigan has those two big guys that could just dominate on the glass and just as we talked about earlier, slow down this game, um, and not let Auburn get in their flow.
yeah. I mean, 8.5 is just a big number. Like this game.
That is a big spread. All right, let's
I don't know,
where do
there's
you
something
want to go
about
next?
Auburn that doesn't excite me.
No, they're never exciting. They I don't know what it is about Auburn. It's like maybe it's their color, like the blue and the dull orange. It's like there's nothing really excited about it.
If we just go chronologically,
All right,
BYU Bama is the next game. Um,
are you a BYU leader?
Bama's another one that's kind of played with their food. Where like that Robert Morris game was pretty dicey for like 30 minutes, and then they pull away at the end. Um, Same areas, same thing happens. I don't love this Bama team. Uh, I don't know anything about BYU to be honest. I had Wisconsin beating them, but apparently there are a lot of BYU leavers out there.
Yeah, that they've gotten a lot of money apparently coming into their program. They're getting the number one recruit next season. I don't know how much that has affect their roster this year, but with Bama, Mark Sears is the problem here. His
Mhm.
touch around the rim, his shooting, it wasn't the same as it was last year. He wasn't as dominant as he was last year. And he carried this team when it got sluggish and when it didn't have like when it wasn't pulling away from these teams. And I guess they have been pulling away in the stretch, but BYU's going to keep it tough. They're going to keep it close and they're not going to let them pull away. They're going to hit some three-pointers even if they're down. So they're going to need a big game from Garrett Nelson. They're going to need a big game from Mark Sears.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Alabama's one of those teams where I feel like they can just outscore anybody. So if they get hot, there's honestly there's really no beating them. Um, but we haven't seen a game from them so far where they've just been like absolutely lights out.
Completely
And if you
agree.
catch them on like their B or C shooting night, then they're very beatable.
Mike says sweet hat in the comments.
Thank you.
Stick around. We're going to start a fantasy baseball draft eventually. We'll
Yes.
get yeah. All right. Let's go to Duke. Let's get that out of the way. Um, I mean, Caleb Love coming back to Duke. It is a good story. It is fun. Is a guy who's played him before. I mean, they've been through a ton of battles.
Knocked them out in Coach K's last year,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
Final
Yes.
Four.
Um, so this will be. I mean, this is going to be a true test for Duke. I do think they're dominant, though. I think that
They look so good,
yeah,
and
they
it's
look
like their
insane.
fourth. Who's the guard? Proctor.
Yep.
That dude was just like unconscious from three
Hmm.
against Baylor on Sunday, and he's the fourth freaking best player on the team.
Yeah.
Uh,
The like Cooper Flag
yeah, if they get,
is Cooper Flag, and then they have how do you pronounce his last name? Karam
I
Malik.
don't, big guy,
Yeah, he's a top 5 pick as well in this draft.
and Knuppel,
Yep.
I think is a lottery pick too,
Yeah.
probably top 10. Uh, so yeah, they're gross. Watching them play like entire basketball games for the first time because like obviously I'd seen the highlights, but I wasn't. They never really played in a big game this whole season,
Mhm.
so I didn't really watch them. Uh, they look impossible to beat.
My take about Duke is Cooper Flag just has to be a wizard. There's no other option.
I hope so.
There's no
It would
other
be
option.
so. It's such a gross injustice if
Yeah,
he's not a wizard.
and I know this is an NBA conversation, but my god, if he's not the perfect roster to put him on. I mean, especially if you look at those other bum teams that are at the top, he does not the NBA is not letting him go to Utah. Let's just get that out of the way. He is
Oh
not
no,
going to
no,
Utah.
it can't happen.
Um, they have to rig it for the Wizards. But I do think
I
they're going
hope
to
they
stomp
will.
Arizona. I'm not going to lie. Arizona almost blew that Oregon game. Oregon was they were desperately trying to give it away. Oregon couldn't finish out. Um, but I mean, then they have the Caleb Love factor, which is cool.
So the Caleb Love thing, it reminds me of the scene from uh, is it Infinity War or Endgame when the one lady's like, "You took everything from me," and Thanos
Oh
is
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
"I
yeah.
don't need it from
Endgame.
anymore."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
well, it's like Caleb Love. This was like 7 years ago that he hit that shot against them in the Final Four. Like Cooper Flag and Concanopal, like these guys don't care.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not even the same coach.
Yeah, right. So
And
I don't think it matters that much. Nor is he on the same team.
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I don't. I that's a it's a neat storyline, but I think it's a big nothing burger. I think Duke wins by a lot.
I agree with you. I think Duke is dominant and they're gonna stomp. Um, I love Arkansas, by the way. I should have been on that. I know
In the
I did.
darling of the tournament,
They
Calipari's Arkansas team.
I
St. John's is one of the teams I had in my survivor, by the way. That was a horrible
oh
game to watch.
brutal. They
Just
just couldn't hit
painful, like
anything.
3 after 3.
He couldn't hit
Their
anything.
bench players on the bench for the last or their best players on the bench for the last couple minutes, which
Oh
was
my god.
insane.
They I put the stamp on them because they lost to South Carolina. That was the stamp. I really didn't think about them. Uh, we should have thought more. I
It
mean, I
worked
had
with
them.
Clemson for what it's worth.
Yes, it did work with Clemson. Um, I had him. I had him beating Kansas. I thought that was pretty safe. I never believed in Hunter Dickinson. Um,
And
and but the Calipari factor. That's what. And the other thing is too. They got all these Kentucky players. They're basically just like a Kentucky 2 seed. That's just a 10 Arkansas
they get
seed.
knocked out in the first round every year. Kentucky does.
That's the other thing. Yeah. So he's just finally putting it together, and now that it's not Big Blue, he can get out of the first round.
Yes. I mean,
So
that was like it was St. John's worst nightmare to like, here's a
yeah,
team
no,
that's actually just as athletic as you. Go shoot the 3 ball to win, and we can't. So it
they
was matchup wise, it was not a great draw. But you
no,
can't like not to defend St. John's when you're a 2 seed. You should beat whoever the 10 seed is, regardless of how they match up with you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just think I underestimated how many 5 stars they have on this roster. Um, and I mean, they just got a lot of good guys. They got a couple. I mean, maybe a
And
couple NBA
they have that
guys in there.
kid that was on FAU a couple years
Yep.
ago, Davis.
Yeah. Yeah, they got some dogs on this team. It's gonna. So they're facing up against Texas Tech. I don't know too much about Texas Tech. I'm not gonna lie. I saw them beat
Texas Tech
Drake.
has JT Toppin,
Okay,
who's I think also a lottery pick.
I think you're right.
Um, they're really good in the Big 12. Can't say I know much about them either. I have them going far in my bracket. Um, I think they'll beat Arkansas, but I don't know.
I love the March Madness
That's some
analysis.
analysis right there.
I never feel dumber
We've
after a
gone all
pod than
chalk
after
so
the
far in these
yeah
games, so
yeah. I mean that's how this tournament's been. It's been very chalk. So it's like that's we might as well keep it going, right?
it's true.
The Speaking of such, even though I hate Tennessee basketball, I do think they're gonna beat Kentucky. I know Kentucky's beaten them. I think maybe twice this season. No, yeah, twice this season. Um,
We
so
beat a team 3
it's hard to beat.
times.
I was gonna say hard to beat it three times. Um, and I mean they have some dogs that have been playing on Tennessee for a long time. Kai Ziegler, he's just like I feel like every
Yeah,
tournament that
he's a dog.
Tennessee's been in, he's been like my past 5 years, ever since I got into college, he's been playing uh, on Tennessee. Um, so I think they don't lose to him 3 times. There's no way. That's just my take. That's what I got.
Yeah, I didn't like Kentucky coming into this. I actually had Illinois beating them in the last round. Um, I'm a little bit bitter about that. I think Tennessee's like has proven that they can make the Elite Eight. They just can't
Yeah,
take the next step to the Final Four.
that's true. It's funny that's how it's funny because like those teams have besides I guess Kai Ziegler, so he's been on those teams, but besides that, really have nothing to do with this team. But it's just funny that that's how we have to
Yeah,
like
it's just who they are.
yeah, it's who
Well,
they are,
it's like
and it
whoever the
works out
coach
that way
is
though.
like the
Yeah,
personality of the team.
and it but like I was kind of critiquing us saying that, but it also works out that way 90% of the time in March Madness. It seems.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because coach, like, you still play the same style of basketball. It's like UConn, like, it's a completely different team, and they still went toe to toe with the 1 seed,
Yeah,
even though
I get
it's
what you're
way
saying.
worse.
Yeah.
Um,
Is Michigan State rolling Old Miss? Um,
I don't think so.
okay,
I mean, you know how I feel
they
about Michigan State.
they
Ole
scored a lot of
Miss has
points.
impressed me.
Yeah, they scored a lot of points against Ohio State or Iowa State. Sorry.
Ole
Um,
Miss did, yeah.
yeah, it's funny. I don't know
Chris
too
Beard,
much
also
about
a
them,
good
but
tournament coach. He
they
went
always
to a
whooped
national
our ass.
championship a couple years ago. So
Okay.
great coaching matchup. Um, I hate talking about Chris Beard just because he's such an awful person.
Yeah, he's not a
But
good guy.
it has to be said that he's a good coach. So yeah, this is the best coaching matchup I think we have this weekend. I wouldn't feel great if I was Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean they kept it close against
It's
New
like they won't be able
Mexico.
to score with Ole Miss.
No, they definitely have to slow it down. They have to slow it down. If they get to 80 points, there's no chance Michigan State
Yeah,
wins.
they're in trouble.
It's really sorry. That's all I got. I mean, yeah, if they slow.
I'll take the
I
upset there. I'll take Ole Miss.
all right. Yeah, I don't hate it. I think I'm gonna bet that just as a straight money line. I think that's a good bet. I mean, I have Michigan State as my national championship for the wise guys, so I might as well hedge, get a little hedge in there.
Here we go.
Um, I'm not winning that wise. We talked about your bracket. I'm 20%. I'm terrible. That's
I might be worse. I haven't even looked at it. I just get the emails like, "Hey, your bracket
I've
sucks." I'm
made
like,
the
"All right."
brackets this year, and I never looked at them again. I didn't even have that. I didn't
I
even
think
log
that's where
into
I'm
the
at with
app.
brackets. I was all in on the Survivor pool, and then I just got nuked in that too. It's
I
like,
made the
okay,
wise
this
guys
sucks,
one,
I guess.
and I put too much like heart picks in there, and
I'm
then
18%.
oh, you are worse than me.
Yeah, I
Um,
am worse. I'm in 70th place
how
out
do
of
we have? I was gonna
74.
say
Holy
how many.
crap!
I didn't know that we had that many people in.
And two of them have X's on them. Two of
Oh,
them picked UConn and Gonzaga to win the tournament. I'm only ahead of Kevin's dad.
oh
But I guess
man.
that's
Hey, he was
and
a
we're
basketball
tied. I'm
coach
not even
too.
ahead.
That's a bad. That's
Oh, and you're right. You're right in front of me. We have the two worst brackets in the pool.
oh, I love it. That's great. Um, but I made
You can
that.
tell by listening to us break down these basketball games that
Yeah, honestly, that's a great point. We're gonna get when we get to football and we're just rolling. Uh, it's gonna be just like wow. Um, all right, talk. Is Purdue got a chance against Houston? All I've been hearing is that Houston's gonna stop them.
I think anyone has a chance against Houston because of the way Houston plays basketball. But I think they'll be able to slow down Purdue offensively, and Purdue can't play defense. So I've been also kind of a Purdue hater. I did have them. They also kind of got lucky because like the singular upset in the first round fell right into their laps, and they got to play McNeese, who's the worst offensive basketball team I think I've ever seen. And they shot the lights out against them. So I don't think that happens against Houston. I think like if they get down early, especially, they're in trouble. I wouldn't give them much of a chance in this game. But
Yeah,
again, biased as someone who doesn't like Purdue and
I don't
picked
think
them
so
to
either. I
lose to
mean,
Iowa.
Purdue's been blowing out teams. I know they kept it close against Gonzaga, but that's what Gonzaga does. They always play Houston well. Um, and I think you're right. If they can't, they're gonna play great defense on them, and Purdue's not gonna be able to speed it up. And they're gonna like not even slowing down the game like we've said for all these other ones. They're gonna be able to like, I think just gonna be able to score on them over and over again.
Yes,
So this could be ugly. What's the spread on this one? Do you know?
8.5. I also have Houston winning my bracket.
8.5 so much in
So
college basketball.
it is a lot of points, especially with like the backdoor covers. If
Yeah,
you hit a couple shots late.
couple free
It's like
throws.
I could see Houston being up 10 this whole game.
Yeah, and then a
And
couple
like
free
every
throws. It's
time
like they
Purdue
lose by
gets it down to
7.
6, then it's like boom, boom. It's all of a sudden it's 12 again. So if it swings back to like, I could see them winning by 6, but it never felt close.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Completely agree with that. Um, all right, I think we hit the preview. Um, I think we did a fantastic job at this preview. Uh,
Who's your updated winner if you had to choose a new one?
oh, give me Duke.
That's where I'm at. It kind of feels like one of those years where we do
It's
all
like
this
old school Duke.
analysis and we get to the final. It's like, oh wait, Duke is better than everybody else. you weren't just a square for you were a square for picking them, but it was also the right thing to do, which is what UConn was last year. I don't think they're on that level. Like, I think they'll play some close games, but man, they look like a wagon. I'm curious to see how they look against Arizona.
Yeah, this will be a good test.
And then after
And if they
Arizona,
blow
they'll
like, if they blow
play
them out, like, this is done.
Tennessee.
Yeah, they'll play Tennessee or Kentucky, but Tennessee. They'll they can't guard Cooper Flag.
Spanked.
Yeah, they can't Tennessee would get boat raced by, and that's not even like they just don't have the big guys. They do not have that big
Mhm.
guys. And the Duke those 2
That's
Duke
Duke's
big men
size is unbelievable. Like, their point guard 6'6".
and, like,
You don't see that.
this is what I should have said before, and maybe I would have looked like a genius, um, in compared to all these, analysis that we just did. But you know who won the past 2 years? The team with Klingon. He
Yeah.
was
Well,
and they had
they also had,
Sunoco. Well, they had a bunch of guys, but they had and say they had Sunoco the first year. Like they always had this dominant big man, and we get like I think that's why I loved Maryland, um, before all this Kevin Willard stuff. But I'll still root for the play. I mean, I think if they can ignore the noise, hell, try to win to keep him there. You know, if they win the national title, he's not leaving. Um, so
it is
that
what
like
they
Derek Queen, he can shoot threes and he's a great big man. Um,
So the funny thing about him, side note, is that he wasn't able to shoot threes all season, and then he hit 2 in the tournament game. We're like, "What?"
okay,
I had,
that
like,
they
4 3-pointers all season, and that Jalen Rose said that on the broadcast. He was like, "Hey, he can shoot the 3," and I was like, "He doesn't shoot the 3, though. What are we doing here?" And then
well
all of a
before the
sudden,
tournament,
it's threes.
every game that he hit a three, you guys lost.
Yes. Right, that's what I mean, like, he wasn't and there wasn't that many games.
So but his style of play and he's able to spread the floor and be a threat, and he still goes up and attempts it at times. Um, but Duke just has that on a astronomical level. As you said, their point guard's 6'6". Cooper Flag is their small forward, and he's 6'9".
Yeah,
Um, it's an insane build, and like it's not these skinny big men either. There are these tree trunk leg giant dudes that like no shit they're gonna score 90 on you. How the fuck are you gonna stop
it's men against
them?
boys.
Yeah, pardon my French, but like how the hell are you gonna stop them? Um, all right, and as you said, men against boys. These guys are gonna be playing in the NBA and starting on whatever team drafts them next year,
Yes.
and dunking on 30-year-olds. So these 18-year-olds are gonna be in some trouble. And maybe that's the analysis that we should have just started with. And maybe Auburn has like maybe if Boehm can get to his size and play to his where he was earlier this season, maybe he could combat that. But man, you need a lot of fluid
I will say
players
the counter
like
to
Duke.
that is it's the tournament and they have no experience, and they're gonna run into some teams that have guys that have been in college basketball for 12 years.
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
I think that's the counter. I think they're too dominant for that to matter, but I will say like, if they end up losing, I would probably chalk it up to that excuse.
Yeah, I think that's the only way that they would have to get out coached completely. Um, three ball would have to be flying on the other team. Um, it would have to be a dominant game by the other team, which is definitely possible. You never know in March. All right, let's we were gonna do the NIL stuff, but I don't really want to. Like I know more about that stuff than I do actually
I'm
about the games,
kinda
but I don't
sick
really
of
want to.
it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, same here. Quick, I guess thing. Everyone's upset that they think the NIL is the reason why the March tournament sucks. It's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a factor. You know, small school teams build up the players, and then the bigger teams buy the players. Has to be a way to fix it. No one knows how to fix it. That's all I got. Let's go to something else. You want to go? Let's go to the NFL. I mean, we got 10 minutes until our baseball starts, so then we could do a preview
Was
right
about
when
to
we
say,
do
I'm
that.
already prepping for the baseball draft right now. I'm
You
getting my
prep. I'm
screens
not.
up.
I don't got to prep at all. So NFL news that is going on. The biggest thing is Stefon Diggs is on the New England Patriots. Um, they gave him a lot of money in 3 years. I think 26 million guaranteed. So it's that's a good number. But I think it's like 96 million he can earn. If I was thinking, if I read that correctly. Um, but I don't care. Who cares what you give him? Stefon Diggs.
It was a lot of
Um,
money.
yeah, it's a ton of money. They okay. Where do I start with this? I've always hated Diggs on this podcast. I've always talked about um, his qualms, his problems in the locker room. But now he's on my team, so why should I care? Vrabel, if everything is true with what AJ Brown, if he's kind of the same way, kind of a diva, AJ Brown apparently loved Mike Vrabel. Apparently they had a great relationship. So
Those guys, they like to be challenged.
yeah, yeah, and Vrabel is that
That's what
is
you
that
say.
type of guy. I think Drake May is one of those guys that just he wants to win football games. He wants to work. He wants to win. So if this guy's bitching at him and complaining, I think he might be able to ignore it or maybe just give him what he wants and play better. But we needed this receiver. We've always been asking for this receiver. Um,
It's true.
so we can't. I can't now complain that we have the receiver. We haven't had this good of a
That's fair.
receiver in I don't know, since I loved Brandon Cooks, but so like maybe you can call it that season, but like he wasn't even that dominant in his season with the Pats. They they needed to get Drake May a reliable wide receiver one, and he will be that for him. He's coming off an ACL. Before his ACL, he got about 70 yards a game and a touchdown every other game. I'll take that for a wide receiver. The Pats haven't had
Yeah,
that
of course.
reliable of a wide receiver in a while. Um, I do think I do like Keyshawn Boutte a lot. I like Demario Douglas a lot. I think they open up in this offense with Diggs out there a lot, especially Douglas in the slot. I think he's open all the time over the middle. Um, and like Jacoby Brissett earlier in the season, it was just like you could just see like these clips of him missing him. So hopefully when Drake May is all like he got hurt. So, anyways, I like it. I don't think the Pats need to draft a wide receiver. I think we have too many guys in the room to begin with. We let the guys that we drafted last year stay on the team. We keep the guys that we already have in house. We keep what's his name from the Bourne. Keep Bourne, Kendrick Bourne, and we see who comes out on top. And if it's not Stefon Diggs, it's not Stefon Diggs. And if it's one of the other guys, that's great. So and everyone loved it when Josh Allen got to Stefon Diggs. So why can't it be good when Drake May gets him?
There you go. They did
And
win many Super Bowls.
yes, yeah, they did. They watched a lot of Chiefs celebrations. If Diggs watches the Chiefs celebration in a Pats uniform, I'm out. I'm out. And there's also there's outs for me in this Diggs thing. I'm not head over heels here, but
Right.
the the second I see a drop ball in playoffs, second I see him bitching on the sidelines, like there's gonna be some problems. But right now, I'm locked in. Vrabel clearly is on board with it, so I gotta be on board with it. Let's go Pats.
That's fair.
Let's run it. Let's get Drake May that guy. Um, so this isn't completely related to the
I'm assuming
oh
there's like
sorry.
an out too in this deal.
Yeah,
Like it's only 20 some million guaranteed.
yeah. So that's great.
So they can definitely get out of it.
hmm It doesn't say like what the void. Remember the Texans one was like literally it was a 1 year deal. Like we signed it to a 3 year like 100 million deal, but it was a 1 year deal. I don't think there's void years like that as drastic, but there's definitely an out of of his contract.
Yeah.
Okay, the so not related to you directly, but the Giants they
Yeah.
signed within the past week of our two podcasts. They signed Jameis Winston and then they signed Russell Wilson. What I mean, I know you're prepping for baseball here, but what are we doing? What's not you, but what are the Giants doing?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Dable knows that he's on his way out. I would think. Uh, the only option is to get the best veteran guy on the market, and it's not a good veteran market. So kind of a no-win scenario, I guess. But yeah, it's tough.
It is
Tough
tough.
situation to be in. I don't know why bring in Winston if you're gonna like why re-sign DeVito and Winston and Wilson
When you
because that
have
kind
2
of takes you out
quarterbacks, you have
for a
none.
rookie, right?
Oh, definitely takes you out for a rookie. You don't wanna take a negative 4th guy in there. They is this so I think it might be because everyone's picking the Browns to take Shadur Sanders at the mock drafts now. That's like the buzz of the past week is that the Browns are gonna take Shadur. So maybe the Giants think they don't have a chance at a quarterback at 3. Maybe they don't like Jackson Dart. That I mean, of course, I wouldn't take Jackson Dart that high. But maybe they're not falling for that. Maybe they're not thinking they can get Shadur Sanders. But now they've completely got themselves out of the Shadur Sanders business, and they have to win with one of these guys, right? They have to at least attempt to. You don't sign 2 quarterbacks and then not play any of them. So it's it's an insane it's insane business. They need to be on Hard Knocks again, so we could see the background of all this stuff.
That would be awesome.
Like, what is the conversation? It's like 2 days ago we signed Jameis, Russell Wilson's coming. What do you think we should do? "Ah, screw it. Let's just give him money too." I lose you?
Sorry,
Oh,
no, no, no.
no, you
I'm
just
just
distracted.
I just got another Willard alert too.
Oh, no. Alright,
And
what's
my
the
mind's
update?
getting yeah, it's insider information, so I won't say. Uh, but it's pretty much over. That's what I will say.
Alright, when is this? We got 3 minutes till this baseball thing's started. Alright, so how do I draft in fantasy baseball? And for all the fans out there that maybe wanna get into fantasy baseball, how do we draft?
So I've been asked this question a couple times actually because I think I'm like one of the only ones in our league who's played. Um,
Okay,
but basically the points are set up so that hitters and pitchers are like relatively equal. Um, so it's most important I think to get a balanced roster. You want in points based fantasy, you want guys who hit home runs,
okay,
and batting average doesn't matter as much. So you get points for hits, walks, runs, RBIs. So like power guys are a little bit more valuable. Um, the weird thing you have to navigate with the roster is your pitchers, like starters versus relievers. So
okay,
your relievers can be in the lineup every day. Uh, Starters like they only pitch every 5 days. So you want to have like maybe two, three relievers, maybe even just one
okay,
um, on your team to get you saves. Um, yeah, I mean that's about it. I
okay.
if you just
So
listen to ESPN, make sure you're like balanced between your hitters and like don't draft your whole hitting lineup and then start drafting pitchers. Just try to be balanced.
okay,
Also,
what
chat
about
GPT as draft strategy with your pick. That's what I did.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, so, like, Mookie Betts has next to him SS and OF, but, like
Oh,
so
like position.
yeah. So, like, how
Yeah,
do I so,
that
like,
means
he's
he's
at okay, go ahead.
you can fill either slot with him. So like here's Luis Arias has first base, second base, DH. So he can start at first, second, or utility for you.
Okay.
Those
So,
guys
but
are valuable, but
yeah.
generally only as like later round picks so that they can fill in at multiple spots if you have injuries. Otani's a
Would
cheat code. Don't worry about him. He'll go number one.
yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, he's projected 300 more points than anyone else. Um, so, like, if he's a designated hitter, would he get more points per game?
No, because there's no stats for defense regardless.
Okay,
So they'll but the guy that's only a DH has to be in utility because they don't play a position.
got it. Alright, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just started, so this is perfect timing, Chris. We can either stay and do a couple picks, or do you wanna we just call it off and we can
We're
get locked
I'll
in?
stay on the phone for your first pick.
Alright, sweet. Yeah, I got the 4th pick.
Oh, I thought the the name at the bottom there in like the picks says L Butler. I didn't realize that that was
The player,
the
yeah, not the player, but
and
the
I thought
person
that
you're
this
picking.
person just drafted Lawrence Butler number one overall.
Oh,
Eh,
Soto fell to 4. Should I take Soto?
uh, out of a competitive spirit, I won't give you advice in case anyone in our league is. Yeah, I definitely.
Thanks. Thanks, thanks. I don't know why I've that's a way to end it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back. We'll be more locked in. We'll be ready to go. And we'll get a schedule set up. So we'll be back on a regular schedule. But thank you all for listening.